This is Signal and Noise, bringing clarity to data, tech, and AI.
Hi, this is Rio Longacre here with Signal and Noise podcast, and we are day one of Possible. It's a beautiful day here. We're at the Mad Connect Mansion, which is right just off Miami Beach, and we're kicking off the first day. So we have a special guest joining us at Kickoff Possible, Nathan Lindberg from VP of Global Brand Partnerships at Overwolf Ads. Thank you for coming.
Wow, what a great time to be here. I mean, this is absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful day in Miami. I mean, what else could we ask for?
I think they get a lot of beautiful days, but
I'm jealous. Especially living up in the Northeast. It's a very different picture down here in January.
It's been a tough year for you guys. Yeah.
Don't need the snow coming to me.
It's funny. I flew in from Denver. In Denver, it was 43 degrees and like cold rain. So
yeah, you guys are very generous this year, passing all your snow on to us. I really appreciate that.
We didn't get much. Really glad you could make it here. We're really excited to hear about you, about your company. I mean, I think it's an area that people don't realize how big it is and how important it is. So maybe you can start up by telling listeners a little bit about your background, and love to understand the business and what makes it tick and the revenue model and all that.
Yeah. I mean, I come from video games. So I've been selling video game advertising for over 20 years now. I started in print. I moved into digital and web, worked at Amazon for a little while on the Twitch brand, spent some time at Epic Games. So I've been able to see kind of the burgeoning, what I would call creator economy that exists within the video game space. It's a new area for video games, but as we've seen, and I know we've talked about many times in your podcast, the creator economy is happening in every industry. It's happening everywhere, whether it's YouTube creators, whether it's Spotify artists, like everyone is finding ways to create their own content. And it's because there's just an insatiable appetite, right? The access to data, the access to information is so much faster than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, right? Like some of us still remember what that dial-up tone sounded like to connect. Some of us remember that from the late 1900s. And now it's just information is so fast, and the audience, their appetite for content is insatiable. Industries can't keep up. And we've seen that transition happen with film and TV and now YouTube and Twitch. And now we're seeing it kind of move into video games. And that's where Overwolf is really trying to position itself as a platform where tools and apps and mods and the things that gamers want can be created by individual content creators to help them then monetize and have a more enjoyable gaming experience.
So do you work with like gaming platforms that then have creators who are publishing games there, or do you work like just with creators themselves? How does that?
Yeah, we sit kind of in the middle. So our job is to kind of, we've created a tools and services platform that's powered by advertising. And that tools and services platform allows you, if you're a really excited player of, let's say, League of Legends, you want to create an app or a website that helps people play League of Legends a little bit better. You can go and create that using Overwolf's suite of tools and services. And we have a monetization platform set up to help you then monetize that. And you get 50 to 70% of the ad revenue that comes into your platform. And so it creates a really strong value exchange for the consumer. It helps the game publishers because we obviously vet and moderate everything.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, people are having a more enjoyable gaming experience and more content is being created for the games that they love. It's kind of a win-win-win for everybody.
50, 70%, that's a good share.
As someone who's worked at other platforms and services and see what the rev shares are for those.
What are they, for example?
I mean, I've certainly seen platforms where it's sub 20%. And so if you think about that in relation, it's a really great deal for creators, especially knowing that the advertising that sits in those ecosystems and services that you're using, which are free, having that ability to say, hey, like this is wonderful. And the fact that I'm getting a tool and a service that I'm enjoying, it's for free. And then the person that has made this is getting a 50 to 70% rev share. That's awesome.
Has AI changed that at all? Are there more creators now because of it? I'm imagining that's the case, correct?
We're seeing, we see efficiencies in the AI angle. Obviously, you're not able to create these apps and tools and services quite yet with AI technology, but certainly we're seeing people innovate and certainly optimize those experiences. I think that when you look at how AI has affected other platforms like social and stuff like that, and the AI slop that you hear from people,
there's a lot of it,
a lot of that. Gaming seems to be a bit of a kind of a strong moat around that in terms of preventing those opportunities. We're not seeing just the lawlessness of content creation. We're seeing innovation, we're seeing efficiency, But we're not seeing just the lawlessness of IP flowing everywhere and stuff like that. And we think that that's, for brands especially who are concerned about that stuff, it's a place where you can kind of feel a little bit more comfortable about where your ads are running.
I think many people don't appreciate how big of a business this is. Like, are there numbers you can give us in terms of number of creators, what types of revenue numbers some of these big creators and publishers are seeing?
Yeah, we've set some aspirational goals for ourselves. Our CEO has us focused to trying to pay out $1 billion to creators by 2030. So we have a strong focus and a North Star, and we've hit about 300 million last year in payouts to creators. Some of our creators are getting beer money for the weekend. Others,
Nothing wrong with beer money.
Nothing wrong with it. Others are seeing generational wealth. Some of our app developers have sold their apps and their businesses for over 40 million euros. So we are seeing those opportunities. We are seeing this new creator economy that's happening. And it's happening in a different way than you would see on a YouTube or a Twitch or other kind of what I would call entertainment-based platforms, right? These are people who are creating the tools and services that you enjoy versus someone who gets on a microphone and talks, entertains that way. And I use the analogy of if you're in a coffee shop and George Clooney walks in, you know George Clooney, you know who he looks like, you know who he is, right? If, Banksy walks in, very famous artist, right? You know his work. But if he walked
until recently, no one even knew who he was, right?
Exactly. So that's the beauty of, I think, what our creator economy is. It's the tools and services people. It's those behind the scenes that are making great works. It's a very different take on creator economy, but it's nonetheless valuable and it's nonetheless lucrative. I mean, these creators are, as I said, are making anywhere from some beer money for the weekend all the way through to fully generational wealth.
Where do the creators come from? Are these just normal people who are interested in it? Are these people who like you have been in the industry for a while? Like, what's your take on that?
All walks of life. One of my favorites is a gentleman named Sandy. Sandy is a total girl dad. His daughter has epilepsy, has a hard time playing video games. He ended up making some mods that helped and allowed her to play in a much more tame environment. He used our platform to then sell them to other parents and families who also could use that. And now he has a business where he can stay home with his family and he works in a small little studio and he makes anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 a month.
Not a bad business.
And he would tell you first and foremost that was never in his like mindset coming out of school. You also see, lifelong gamers who want to, provide that value as well. So it's a really mixed batch. We have, over 187,000 creators across the world who are making apps, tools, and services. And that, I think, really, it's a very welcoming and kind of opportunistic area right now that we see more and more people coming. I think that AI makes it a lot easier then to create and to kind of maintain those situations, which makes it even more, I think, approachable from that perspective.
How can you respond to people who might question, like, why do you need ads in these games, or like what's the whole point? To people who maybe are not big on the ads things, like what's the value proposition, both from a consumer point of view, obviously from a creator point of view, the monetization. I mean, it makes so much sense. So guys that people like the guys described can work from home, publish games, and get checks every month. But from a, let's say, a user perspective, what's the argument for ads?
Well, I would say that, the question is, do you want to pay for it or do you want an advertiser to pay for it? And what we have seen is that when you have an ad environment that is non-intrusive, that is complementary to the experience, and it's giving value both to the creator who makes it and to the users who's using it, people are fine with it. Gamers in general, I hear this a lot from brands and agencies. Oh, gamers don't like advertising. Gamers are people. They don't like bad advertising or irrelevant advertising. So if you create a situation where I'm doing something and you interrupt me and say, hey, pay attention to this, I feel like that's already a negative situation that you're creating through that advertising medium. So if you can figure out the right way to put the right message in front of the right audience, we've seen brand lift studies, we've seen a ton of quantitative results that show that our audience really appreciates the fact that they don't have to be nickel and dimed for services. And instead, those advertising dollars go directly into the pockets of people who make their favorite tools and services. So it's a value exchange.
I think it's a good point. I think people underappreciate just how many people use these games. Like, let's say you go on a bus, right? You'll see all these people playing their phones. Many of them are playing games, and most of those games, to your point, are ad supported. And there's no way everyone's going to either wants to or is going to be able to pay for these. So the ad supported model, I think, makes a ton of sense. So your role as a VP of Global Brand Partnerships, like, what can you maybe explain what it entails? And
Yeah, it's finding the right brands and advertisers to be in this space and to partner not only on the day-to-day media transactions we do, but create bigger and more kind of altruistic partnerships across the platform. So not just running ads in our kind of IAB standard media areas on our website, but actually creating long-term campaigns where users can play and win and earn. We have a number of different ways that we help brands really get into the space and actually work with users from an engagement perspective. So imagine being able to play your favorite game, do a certain number of things, win a prize from a brand. That's a great experience for you. It's a great experience for the brand. And so our team is really focused on not only here in the US, but globally trying to find the right brands and agencies and partners to come in and play a bigger role in that ecosystem and help to drive more premium revenue to our creators.
What types of brands or advertising or what sectors are you getting the most interest from right now?
Yeah, it's great. We see a lot of different partners. We just wrapped up a campaign with the folks at H&R Block, which you would think, okay, taxes, gamers, but actually one of the largest small business groups out there are content creators and creators building on
Oh,
Overwolf.
that's interesting. Okay.
So we had a great campaign. We worked with them on promoting their different activations and stuff like that. And they came back to us and said that not only was it the best gaming partnership that they've done, but it was one of the best partnerships, period, that they did, which for me is really important because we want to get outside the idea of, oh, we're just good for gamers. We're great for brands across the board. We've seen some really great opportunities with travel and tourism. Universal Orlando Resorts we've worked with recently. QSRs are always a favorite. There's McDonald's or Little Caesars. So we see a pretty good variety across the board in terms of what brands and agencies want to work with us. Entertainment's popular. And then obviously endemic game publishers are very curious about kind of how we can help them connect with their future audiences and grow their overall target there.
So your payouts, the goal is to be at 1 billion, you said, by 2030?
Yeah.
Those are aggressive goals. And then what's in order to pay out 1 billion, how big, if you're just doing the math here, so $1 billion, and if you're paying out, let's say 50 to 70%, right? So that's a pretty big ad number, right?
It is. It is. And it's not just ads that help support our business. So we do have payments and other verticals within our business. So there are other areas that we're also generating revenue for. So across the board, we're trying to kind of build this kind of payout system. So whether it's our ads business, our techs kind of payments business, there's a whole suite of tools and services that we're trying to help to get to that $1 billion number. So it's not just ads, because that would make us a pretty big player in the ads business. But we're on our way. And I think that we're, from an ad perspective, being able to put brands in an environment like video games is really valuable. And we're hearing that, especially from kind of research companies like Adelaide. You talk about attention and the value of attention scores. And video games are very, very high. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you have a child or a significant other that plays games, it takes many, many times to get their attention, right? Because they're locked in and focused. And advertisers can't find that everywhere. And so this is an opportunity where if we can get it right with the correct kind of partnership between the ad and the consumer so that it's a pleasant experience for both sides, and we can track it, and we can put data on it, and we can do those other things, I think that advertisers are really excited because
Strong val prop, yeah.
they want to be in that environment, right? If you say to somebody, do you want to be in an environment where your audience is highly engaged and is going to see your ad and is going to have a much higher level of retention? Everyone's going to say yes.
You can tell them an awful lot about these audiences as well.
Yeah, and it's a big thing that we're talking about this week at Possible. This is our first time we've launched an ad product at an event. So we're excited to talk about GamerGrid, which is our new kind of first-party data management platform. We're combining it with ArcSpan and LiveRamp data to give advertisers just a much better understanding of their audience in this high attention environment. And I think that when we change that narrative, it ends up becoming a much more easy thing for someone to consume and for someone to buy. Because too often we're being told, you have to target gamers. That's a large group of people now. As you mentioned, it's everybody from people playing on mobile games, PC games, consoles, Switches. There's a lot of people playing games these days. And to say one holistic group needs to be reached, it's not the case.
So they can take their audience, enrich it with, let's say, on board and get a ramp idea, then match it up against yours, see the overlap and target audience specifically.
Exactly. And they can buy it direct. They can buy it through programmatic direct. And this is a way for them to find their audience in our high attention environment, which is video games. And I think that that's a much better way for this industry to work. I think that as someone who's spent so much time in video games, we have never made it easy for advertisers to buy our platform and our service. And it's the reason why, we look at games like Grand Theft Auto 6, which are going to release later this year, largest entertainment franchise launch ever.
Oh, it's a multi-billion-dollar franchise, right? I mean, I don't think people appreciate, like, these games launch and they will do tens of millions of dollars of sales, like, in the first few days.
Yeah. And
they'll outperform movies.
And we're still on pace with podcasts in terms of revenue. And you look at TV and CTV, they're light years ahead of gaming. And we have to fix that. And that is a big reason why making it easier to transact through the kind of ads and situations that Overwolf is building, IAB standard, trackable, first party, third party data layering, that's going to help the ad industry go, I'm comfortable with this. This I can actually track to
Well, once you fix this, maybe you can help fix podcasts next. This audio is totally under monetized as well.
It is.
I agree. But I think
together.
It has a lot of problems in terms of fragmentation and lack of just understanding. Even comparing metrics across audio platforms is super challenging. I don't think gaming's quite as.
I mean, gaming has a lot too. You look at game publishers all operate on their own infrastructures. And so having that consistent synergy is really difficult. It's the power of Overwolf to be across 1,500 games, as opposed to, a platform like a Roblox or a Fortnite, which is, vertically integrated, but they don't talk to each other. And so to have a platform like Overwolf that sit over 1,500 games, you can have a much different strategy than if you're just working with one game publisher on one activation.
Well, really exciting. I'm going to be looking out for those announcements here, possible. Love the pants, by the way.
Oh, fantastic. Trying to keep that vibe, I got to make that Florida vibe work.
Yeah, if you're coming to Florida, why not, right? And especially, perfect weather like this and beautiful sunshine. So, well, good luck here, possible. Enjoy the next few days. Appreciate you coming by. And maybe we should check back in a few months and do one of our feature length long form pods. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Excellent.
Good to see you.
Thanks so much. Yeah.